How y'all doing? Let me know if you can see me in the comments. Let me know if you can hear me. I have my mic plugged in right now to my computer. Let me know how y'all are doing tonight. I'm gonna let the music build just a little bit. I'm gonna let some people join in. I have all of my notes right here for y'all tonight. I know it's been a long time since I've been on YouTube, so I figured I would treat y'all with your favorite topic in the world, and that's moving out of your parents' house. Let's see how many people we got watching. Says we got 11 people watching. If you will, do me a favor, go ahead and leave a like in the video. If you're on, my goal is to have as many likes as there are people watching. That would just be great. That's going to help the algorithm tell more people about these types of videos. Visual sound is great. That's awesome. Because let me tell you something, my camera, which is right now connected to my laptop, I haven't figured it out yet. So right now I'm using my webcam, so I'm glad it looks good for y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I'm still getting used to this software and all these fun things, but we'll be getting started here pretty soon. Had some technical difficulties along the way. This is my theme song right here. First of all, let me get the Zoom link for you guys and girls. Because I will be opening up the call line. You'll join through this link if it works and lets me. How y'all doing? If you're just joining, go ahead and drop your name, age, and what area you're streaming from, you're watching me from. I want to get to know more about you guys, and I want to have a few of you call the call line, which means you'll be getting on Zoom. If you don't have Zoom, go ahead, download it. It's free, super quick process. Why is it not letting me copy and paste this? Y'all, I just turned 30, so I guess that's my excuse for not being tech savvy tonight. Copy. Paste. There we go. I figured it out, guys. Alright, as we have people joining in, I'm going to drop my name, age. Y'all know my name, but perhaps you don't know my age and location, so I'm going to put that. Alright, I did it, so I'm not asking y'all to do anything that I won't be doing myself. Cassidy, 24, Nevada. I do know her. She's my girlfriend. Alright, y'all. We're going to go ahead and get started with the topic of today. I have a ton of notes, a ton of stuff to talk to y'all about. I'm getting used to looking at my webcam because usually I'm looking at the camera. The camera's back here, so if I end up looking like off screen, I'm just used to the camera being there, but that camera's not on. This camera's on. So, alright. So we're talking about moving out. First of all, how is everybody doing on this fine evening? My mic is acting up. Alright, y'all, it's been a hot minute since I've been on YouTube. So, first and foremost, I want to introduce myself. I'm Reggie Bryant. First and foremost, this right here is a personal finance channel. I'm glad that y'all can hear and see me. I want to have more of a participative type of vibe on my channel. And I've kind of gotten tired of just sitting down recording a video for 20, 30, 40 minutes, taking 2, 3, 4 hours to edit the video and then putting them out. And then they may or may not be videos that you like or need in your life at this time. So the purpose of these broadcasts, this is how I plan on doing my YouTube for the rest of my YouTube career, is just doing these live broadcasts. Maybe here and there I'll throw a video in there where it's pre-recorded, but I really want y'all to see the authentic me. Right now I'm a little stopped up. Right now my nerves are all over the place just because I've been spending for a while getting this set up. I thought it would be a lot easier than it is. It's not easy by any means. But I say all that to say the purpose of this is going to be called, this series is going to be called The Wealth Journal. We're talking about our wealth journeys. I'm going to be sharing my wealth journey with you, and that's documented within my wealth journal, which largely consists of a bunch of things in my notes app on this phone, on my laptop, on my iPad, and all kinds of things, note-taking ways. But I want to hear from you. I want to understand where you're at in your wealth journey. And obviously, a lot of you ladies and gentlemen just really, really love the topic of moving out. And honestly, that's the first part of personal finance for a lot of people. So you will hear me say a lot that first and foremost, this is a personal finance channel. It's not just about moving out of your parents' house. This whole channel's personality is not based on that. But it is an important topic, and it's the hump that a lot of y'all have yet to get by. Or maybe you have moved out, but you're underwater and you feel like you're just drowning because you weren't prepared for the financial aspect of it. Either way, I'm going to be your big brother / uncle because I have hit that 30 years old. Some of the kids nowadays call 30-year-olds unk. I still feel like I'm 20 personally, but that's just me. So we're going to jump into the topic. All right. Have a bunch of notes. I want to set a few things for y'all in the chat. Sorry, I got distracted. Want to set a few things for y'all in the chat. Please be respectful. We're not judging anybody in here. And one thing about me, I won't judge a single one of you. I can recognize when financial decisions are good or bad or even crazy, but I'm not about to disrespect you and, make you feel dumb for decisions that you've made in the past. We're all on our own wealth journey. The only difference between me and a lot of you is I'm just a few steps ahead, and I'm just sharing and documenting my journey with you. So I want to have some big time conversations with y'all tonight. I'm going to get some music playing in the background, just so this doesn't become dull. So give me just one moment. Yeah, that's better. A nice jazzy type of vibe. We're relaxing tonight. We're just gonna talk about where you're at. If the music gets too loud, just let me know, and I'll go ahead and adjust it on my end because I don't want to distract y'all or make it seem like I really can't hear what I'm saying. So. What else? I won't judge you, but I will challenge you. I will say what needs to be said for you to become better. And the bigger purpose behind this channel, besides just personal finance, if you didn't know, the main reason I set out to do this channel in the first place was to build better men. This channel, first and foremost, is for men. It's for you too, ladies. So it's going to benefit all genders. However, the reason I created this channel in the first place was for the men. Because I think a lot of men in the world are behind right now. They're not confident in themselves. They're not able to fix their personal finances or do the things they want to do, buy the things they want to buy, go where they want to go, or even so much as handle their basic expenses. And so, to me, there's a big deficiency and deficit in men having what they need to have, especially from a financial perspective. And finances is just a place where I have strength in, and I just want to help other people not make so much emotional decisions. So that's why if you've been with me for a while, you've been watching my videos for a while, you've heard me say bro a lot in my video. Obviously, I'm not calling the girls bros. It was meant for men. But now that pretty much everybody watches this channel, I still want to make it very clear that that is the main purpose and mission for this channel, and it is something that I hold very dear to my heart because I know a lot of guys great guys, but They're not making what they want to make as far as earning potential. They're not in the type of careers they want to be in. They're not investing like they want to invest in. They have families to provide for. They have things going on in their life. And if my advice and if my insight and experience, is able to help just a few people, it's going to have a ripple effect, which is what my goal is for today. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm drinking my soda and it's making me gassy. Last but not least, if you're just joining in, do me a favor, drop your name, age, and area that you're watching me from. One second. Okay, my computer just giving me some weird conflicting information. Anyway, never mind all of that. But first and foremost, I'm not a YouTuber. I'm actually a businessman and an entrepreneur. So yes, I do make YouTube videos, but I was in business and managing and things like that well before I created a YouTube channel, and this is why I'm able to speak on a lot of things when it comes to investing or personal finance or even moving out of your parents' house. And I have a story behind that, which is a lot of you can relate to that. And that's where a lot of traction from this channel specifically came from. But I say that to say I do have products and I do talk about them sometimes. I'm not pushy or salesy with them. But I did get a smart comment on one of my previous videos about moving out just a few days ago saying, quote, bro spends more time pushing his own products than giving actual advice. The truth is, I'm just an entrepreneur and we make our money through our products and through our services. So if you don't want them, that's fine. I have like 420 something videos on this channel, maybe 300 something videos on this channel. So I mean, I lose count. I have over 1 million views. I mean, there's so many gems in the videos that I've already put out. If you feel like I'm pushy or salesy, I just want to lay that out quickly. And last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and give you my financial disclaimer because it looks like we have quite a few people in now. It looks like we have 21 people watching. Amen. So check this out. I'm going to give you a quick, like the world's quickest financial disclaimer. And I'm going to read it directly from this because this is a legal document. This show is for educational purposes only. Also, entertainment purposes. I want to make y'all laugh. I want to get y'all to think. I want to intrigue you all. So that's what this is about. I'm not a financial advisor. I will never claim to be a financial advisor. Don't want to be a financial advisor. I just want to be super clear on that. Nothing I share should be considered financial advice. This is for your education. These are things for you to take on and say, okay, let me consider adding that to my life, and you weigh the options on your own. It's so weird with the camera being right here. But anyway, always, my camera over. Always do your own due diligence. Okay? All right, quick favor, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just joining in, give me a like. I want the algorithm to tell as many people about this live stream as possible. I'm going to go as long as I can possibly go on this live stream because this is a very big topic. And a lot of you have a lot to say about it. A lot of you have comments. So I have dropped the Zoom link earlier in the chat. So if you would like to join on Zoom later, do me a favor, go ahead and click that link and start joining in. Let's get into the topic, good people. So you want to move out of your parents' house. I want to have an open conversation about that today because I want to understand, is it more of an emotional thing? Is it more of like you just want your own freedom? And I want to understand how you're planning to do that. I've given plenty of advice. Some people disagree with it, but I think a lot of people disagree with what I say simply because the numbers I give are steep. Like I say, if you want to move out, at least have $20,000 saved. I actually say $10,000 to $20,000 saved in your savings account. People say that's too much, but in my mind, I'm like, if you're living with your parents and you work a full-time job, there is no reason why you shouldn't be able to come up with that. Now, especially if you're not paying significant bills, like you might help with some bills around the house or whatever, but I don't know, like I just kind of expect that if you truly say that you want something, that you actually take the action behind doing the things that are necessary to move out of your parents' house. If you want that liberation and freedom, you have to do a certain amount of work, and so it just kind of strikes me when people say, oh, that's too much. Do you want me to lie? And say save $1,000? No, that's not going to get you where you need to go. You need to have a good amount of runway in case something hits the fan and you need to leave. So we're going to talk first of all about, this is the first part of personal finance for a lot of people. This is when a lot of people first get introduced to personal finance. And it's crazy to think about, because why is that? Why is it that when you finally get out of the house, that's when you first get introduced to personal finances? What I mean by that is, that's when you learn about how does debt work, right? How do student loans work? How does credit card debt work? What is a Roth IRA? What's the 401k? Why are we just not learning about these things? Why couldn't we have prepared ourselves for this when we were at a younger age? This is becoming a problem because when you do finally move out of your parents' house, now you have credit card debt. Now you're hardly able to pay for your groceries. Now you're stressed out about money. You can barely sleep at night. And sometimes you might even have to swallow your pride and move back in with your parents. And that was the whole point, moving out of your parents' house, right? But we have to do things in an intelligent way. And honestly, this is the topic that I've grown tired of talking about just in my natural videos, but I'm fully comfortable talking about this in front of a live audience because y'all have so many questions and such a big desire to move out. I just want to talk to some of you and see what it is about moving out that strikes you so much, and what your plan is of doing so. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and open the call line up. I want to see who would like to join me on this fine evening. Whoops, I joined the wrong mess. That's about useless. Let's see what we got here. There we go. My allergies are killing me today, y'all. Alright. That's going to be open for whenever somebody decides to go ahead and call in. I will admit you. I'm going to turn my do not disturb off just in case I get a notification on my phone. I don't want to ignore it. Alright, let me check on something real quick. We got 22 views, which is good. Let me see. I'm gonna go back to my YouTube channel real quick. See how many people are watching live. Y'all might hear two sounds. Okay. Cool, we got some likes. We got some people watching live. Wow, my phone's camera is so much better than my laptop, so I should just use this camera to go live. Hold on. Let me do that actually. Change this whole vibe up real quick. What do y'all think about what I just said though? Let me know in the comments what y'all think. going to go ahead and edit something real quick. See if it lets this work. Alright, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not about to keep playing around with this. Anyway, to start with this, perhaps you are a 17-year-old. Maybe you're 25. Maybe you're just tired of your parents altogether. Maybe you feel like you're an adult. Says, man, I got to move out ASAP. I mean, you know what I'm saying? If that's how you feel, call the hotline. I'm gonna just call this the hotline. Let me see. Oh, that was a comment on a video. Hope they join the live stream so we can have a conversation about this. But anyway, maybe you're 25. You're like, all right, I'm overgrown. I'm getting tired of this mess, and maybe it's also eating away at you because you have friends who are like married, have their own families, or even friends who are single, have their own place, they're well established, and they have investments going, and you just feel like you're being left behind and you're eating their dust basically. And I don't want that for you, but unfortunately sometimes that's the cards we're dealt in life. It could be due to a multitude of reasons that I'm not really going to get into, because right now I just want to focus on the fact that you want to move out. But I want you to know that I've been you. I've been the person that has been irritated and ready to move out, and I tell this all the time, but a big thing is my parents, I'm not going to say they were controlling, and I love them very much and I don't resent them at all, but I will say we got into a big fight about where I was going to school, where I was going to college specifically. And they were trying to force my hand to go to a school that was within the same town as my hometown, which is Greensboro, North Carolina. And I was like, I don't want to go there. I want to go here. I wanted to go to East Carolina University. This is a little bit very real. How would you have that conversation with your parents? That's a good question. So I'll tell you exactly how I had that conversation. They were basically trying to force my hand and tell me where I'm going to school. It was either NC A&T or East Carolina University. I didn't want to go to A&T. I wanted to go to East Carolina University. I had job shadowed in industrial engineer, which was the field that I wanted to go into, which is the field that I actually did go into in college. But he inspired me to look at ECU. He was like, yeah, my son goes to ECU. He loves it there. It's a great program out there. And they have a great distribution program, a great engineering program, great technology, great everything. He pretty much praised ECU. And plus, I really liked the ECU drumline, which is where I performed at. But anyway, long story short, they were like, you're going to this school. And I'm like, oh, okay. Who's paying for it again? Basically, to answer your question, I talked to them very calmly and very logically. Even though my blood was boiling on the inside, I spoke to them the way they needed to hear this as adults. And that way was, look, who's paying for it? Are y'all paying for my school? If y'all will pay for it, I'll go where you want me to go. But if I'm paying for it, oh, you're paying for it. Okay, so if I'm paying for it, why do you get to choose where I go to school? And then it got so quiet. You could hear a pin drop. Kind of how when that music just went out, you heard how quiet it got. That's how quiet it got in the room. And that is when I knew, okay, I'm making the right decision. I need to go ahead and move out because, yes, I'm living under their roof, so it's their rules. I have to be back by a certain time. I'm going to have a curfew. There's I have to keep my room clean, which you should be keeping clean anyway, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you don't want somebody telling you to do these things. So I've been the person that's been frustrated and wanting to move out. But this is an emotional situation just as much as it is a logical situation. You should want to move out of your parents' house. I know a lot of other cultures, they might or might not. You know, I actually see in my comments all the time, they'll say, well, other cultures stay together. Look, that's great for them. I I'm not going by that culture. That's not my culture. And I like time alone. I like my own place. I like my own space. And that's what I did for myself. And I've been able to do well, make good money, invest, save, and do all those things. So I'm trying to show you how to do the exact same thing. But if you do this purely emotional and you completely ignore the finance side of things, that's where people start to mess up at. That's where people start to mess up at because, it's like wanting to move out, but you don't have a concept for how how much your bill is going to cost me on average per month. You know, like if you don't have any concept of how much that costs, you might be online looking at apartments. Oh, okay, the average apartment and where I live at is $1,200. So let me see if I can find one around that price. And then you see everywhere you go, they're 1,500, 1,500. Oh, there's one that's $1,300 a month. Cool. That's not how much you're going to be paying a month. It's too good to be true. It's not because you're not including utilities, you're not including unforeseen expenses, you're not including so many things. And when they actually give you the real price, it might be something like 13.25, and then you're going to have a security deposit on top of that. And then you have to look at the overall cost of living in your area versus how much you get paid. Like there's so many things that are quote unquote boring that no one really wants to think about. But the way I think, and maybe this is the engineer in me, the engineering mind, I want to know everything that can possibly go wrong. I want to know every single process of every single thing that I have to do outside of not living with my parents anymore. Because now I have to get my own insurance, whether that's life insurance, health insurance, car insurance. You know what I mean? They're not. No one's going to be there to remind you, hey, make sure you set up that 401k. Now, if I'm in your family, you will. But I'm just saying, I've never seen people remind their family members like that. Hey, make sure you set your 401k up. Do you know what a Roth IRA is? You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to set these things up, and all these aren't going to get set up immediately. But don't you think you should know? Doesn't it make sense that a person should know how much they can expect to pay on rent? Don't you think they should know what their utilities is going to be, how much they spend on average at the grocery store, have a rough idea for how much pots and pans and plates and cups are going to cost? Shouldn't they have some sort of an idea? How much does it cost to get furniture, a couch? You probably already got TVs that you're bringing with you, but when it comes to furniture, that is the most slept on thing that people don't think about, but it's the first thing that people want to fill their houses up with because no one wants to come home to an empty apartment. I know I didn't. It's about depressing. No one wants to sleep on the floor or an air mattress for that matter. You know? So I want to understand because if you're not thinking on that level, what makes you think you're ready to move out of your parents' house? That's why I named the video, So You Want to Move Out of Your Parents' House. That was the way that a lot of people used to title things back in the day. I'd say about 10 years ago, that was a very popular thing because it's like it makes you rethink, wait a minute, I want to do this, but do I know what is required to get there? Because the lifestyle that you want and the outcome that you want requires something of you. You get what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that, but you just have to understand that things in life have requirements with them. It's not just, oh, I'm upset, so I'm moving out. Or, oh, I'm 25, 26, 27 years old, I still ain't moved out yet. I need to move out. No, you need to get your life together first. You need to get your finances together first and then move out. So I always say 20 G's, $20,000. There's no reason why you can't save that type of money. I have so many videos on this platform showing you how to do it for free. There's even been people who have called in to my service called Wealth Labs. It wasn't called Wealth Labs back then. It was just called one-on-one coaching, but now it's called Wealth Labs. And they would call and say, hey, I just need your help and I need your accountability with saving money. A lot of y'all just need accountability, but they would call and be like, I need to figure out how to save more money. And then I would ask them like, well, how much do you make? How much do you put away each check right now? And how much do you usually have left over? How much do you usually spend? How much of that spending can you cut? You know, the whole nine, the things that you would ask a person who is trying to better themselves financially, right? And then I would be like, well, you have an extra amount of money per month, but you blow it. So have you thought about just paying yourself first? Have you thought about just automating your savings account to where you tell your bank, hey, I'm taking $200 as soon as I get paid and putting it in my savings? Have you ever tried that? And every single time, without hesitation, no, you know what? I haven't tried. I haven't even thought about that. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of the advice that I give for free on this platform are things that people will pay for, even when it comes to just getting more clarity. And sometimes you just need to hear it directly from me to you, or directly from whoever to you, that you need to do something. And if you want to move out, what you need to do is understand where you're at financially, understand how much you're making per hour. If you're making $10 per hour, I'm sorry, it's not happening for you. Even if you have roommates, it's not, I don't see that for you. I'm being honest because the economy today is something serious. It's not like it was when I moved out. Oh, my Apple Intelligence is acting up. I don't know if I said something that activated it. But anyway, there are things that you have to do. I was actually getting on to a really good point, but that actually distracted me pretty good. You have to look at the economy. When I was 21 years old, I was making 65. So between 21 to 22 years old, I was making anywhere between 65,000 to 85,000 on the East Coast, and the cost of living was just downright low. Had a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom townhome that only I lived in, $870 a month. And looking back, my aunt, Lord rest her soul, she passed away not too long ago, but she used to always tell me, you need to just get a 1-bedroom apartment. What do you need all that for? I didn't listen. Now, did it hurt me bad? No, but could I have pocketed an extra $170 a month? Absolutely. $700 a month versus $870 a month when you're ahead financially is a no-brainer. And I didn't need the other rooms. I just kind of wanted to flex and prove to other people that I could do it, because people laughed at me when I said I wanted a townhome in the particular neighborhood I was living in. And that's another thing. Letting pride get to you when it comes to your parents. Sometimes parents say things they don't mean. They're humans just like you are. They're not perfect. Sometimes you might tell them an ambition or an endeavor that you have for yourself, and they might laugh at you, or they might say, well, how do you plan on doing that? Or my favorite, well, I don't know how you expect to do that, or I don't know how you plan to do that. And that kind of, on a subconscious level, puts doubt into people's minds. And that's what a lot of us don't think about. And then it leads to resentment for parents. But what you got to really understand, you have to look at this from a rational perspective. Do you think that your parents are trying to hurt you, or do you think they just want what's best for you? 9 times out of 10, they just want what's best for you, but they don't always have the best way of delivering such information. And it causes you to react in emotional ways that pretty much screws you over financially, only for them to be like, I told you so. So there is some truth to what they're telling you now. I ain't gonna lie to you. They got a notification on Zoom. Hold on. Okay, anyway, and I'm also getting used to having an Apple Watch. But so there's a lot of things that come with this whole thing that we're talking about. It's not just a matter of, yeah, I'm annoyed, I'm with my parents, and blah, 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 blah. It's much deeper than that. If y'all resonated with what I just said, go ahead and, what do I tell y'all to put in the comments? Put about out in the comments if y'all resonated with what I just said, because it's extremely important what I just said. A lot of y'all have not really thought about the fact that some of y'all's parents are still trying to figure out the financial thing on their own as well. They might have made some bad decisions, and so they're like, if I'm making bad decisions, I know my son's gonna make bad decisions. I know my daughter's gonna make bad decisions. That's probably where their mind is at. But and I'm not saying that's right. It's definitely not right. But right, wrong, or indifferent, they're your parents, and we have to think about it that way. And you have to get away from the anger as your motivation, or if you want to let it motivate you, fine, but don't let that be the driving factor, because you will neglect the concept of how much bills cost. You will neglect the concept of how to budget. And I know this is super boring sounding stuff, but you're an adult. You're in a Yo, I just moved into college today. I watched some of your videos before moving in today. Thank you. Well, you're very welcome, Llama Boy. That's his name on YouTube, y'all. I ain't calling nobody names, but nah, that's cool, because when I moved out for the first time. When I say first time, it meant moving from my parents' house out to college. I had to think in a different way. And when I did move out to college, I know I made the right decision by moving out of my environment, because it put me around people that think differently. I could share ideas with people that think differently. They're not necessarily shooting down what I'm saying, or uh, not having any perspective on what I have to say. You know what I mean? Because I went into a completely different field than both of my parents and most of my family, with the exception of one of my uncles. So I wasn't exactly around people who were feeding a lot of my mindset and my endeavors and my drive and all these other things. So I'm really glad that you've been able to watch some of my videos and they benefit you. Congratulations on moving into college. And throughout your college career, I want you to think about something. I want you to think about, when you graduate, how much money you're going to be making. That's what a lot of people fail to do. That was the first thing I did before I even chose a major. I was like, no, if I get a degree in this particular field, what are my job options going to be? And luckily, my school at the time, it had a list of a bunch of different things. And of course, they had links to BLS.gov, which is the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, that tell you in the most accurate way how much money you can expect to be making once you go ahead and graduate from college. And sure enough, industrial engineer was up there. But something else was up there that I was like, manager was up there. Um, environmental uh, environmental and safety hygienist was up there. Industrial hygienist was up there. Industrial engineering technician was up there. And so entrepreneur was even up there, which is crazy because that major actually prepared me to do a lot of things in business, a lot of things in engineering, as well as come up with ideas and then create those ideas out of nothing. So coming up with something, for example, my professor came into class one day and was like, all right, guys, y'all have learned quite a bit so far. This is like my sophomore year. He's like, y'all have learned quite a bit so far. So I'll tell you what. For the rest of the semester, we're not doing any more schoolwork. We're not doing any more assignments as far as homework and solving problems. We're going to actually do real world things. I want you all to create a solar powered cell phone charger, and I want it to be fully functional, and you have to make it out of scrap parts. I want to see a 2D and 3D design of it. You're going to render that design. You're going to get with groups. You're not going to do this by yourself. You're going to work as a team because all of you have different strengths. And sure enough, even though none of us thought we could do it, we all did it. And it was something that we all did successfully. And it was crazy because if I had stayed at home, I don't know that I would have been exposed to that type of thinking and being exposed to what I can actually do. You know what I mean? It's it's kind of hard to just casually say, yeah, so I'm building a solar powered cell phone charger out of scrap parts. You know what I mean? So we did that, and that was really cool. I say all that to say that if you do the groundwork right now that you've moved into college, I promise you when you graduate, it'll be so much easier because you will know what you can expect to make and what skills you can expect to get. Don't just choose a major because it sounds good or because it's pleasing to your parents or whatever the case is. I know so many kids I went to college with. They're not kids anymore, but they only chose their major because of their parents. They went into debt because of what their parents wanted for them, only for them to switch their majors down the road. And it leads me to another point. Not understanding how debt works. So another thing, Llama Boy. Oh, and thanks, Tommy. I appreciate your comment. Saying, hi, man, I hope you have a nice day. Thank you. I hope you have a nice day, too. So, Llama Boy, back to you. I want you to really understand something. The more that you learn now is going to be incredible for you in the future. So if you learn how debt works, now I'm not sure if you have student loans or not, but take some time to figure out the difference between subsidized loans and unsubsidized loans and which ones you have, if you have loans at all. Um, Understand how compound interest works. And here's some advice. I can't say advice. This is not financial advice. I gave the financial disclaimer at the beginning of the show, but you know what I'm saying. These are pointers that I gave to some of the younger folks. There's a guy in my group, which is called Wealth Journey Collective. There's a guy in my group named Simon. When he was in college, I was telling him about Roth IRAs, and one thing about it. Sorry, I got distracted by that. One thing about the Roth IRA thing is that he started investing in a Roth IRA when he was in college. Some people don't even know what a Roth IRA is and they're 25, 26, 27 years old. Some people will never max out their Roth IRA. So when you learn about these things early on, it's better. Llama Boy said, bro, I wish my internet didn't cut out. I was testing my Ethernet cable instead of Wi-Fi because it's healthier. So I missed you for a minute. You seem very wise, my man. Respect and thank you. Yeah, I mean, Llama Boy, if you want to, this is going to be on YouTube after the fact. So if you missed any part of this video, feel free to watch the full live stream because what I just gave you is something that's really going to help you throughout your college career. So in short, look at your college major, look at what the outcomes are going to be as far as career, and look at how much you could potentially be making out of college, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. Look at the career growth. Luckily, BLS.gov has a lot of that information. You can also look on other sites. That's just my favorite one. But it's going to show you the career growth and what you can expect. You can look on Glassdoor as well to look at companies nearby in whatever field that you're in. But moving out is important, y'all, because you have to get to a place where you can hear your own thoughts. I agree, man. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, but you got to get into a place where you can hear your own thoughts, man. Like, I love people. I'm a social person. Even though I consider myself somewhat of an introvert and I don't socialize with just anyone, I love people and I like to talk to them and pick their brain and see how they think and understand what's on their mind. If you're just joining in, go ahead and give this video a like. My goal is to have as many likes as there are people. And also, join the call line. I do have a Zoom link. You'll have to scroll up a little bit in the chat, but it's like the second or third comment in the chat room. And you can go ahead and get on Zoom and we can have a conversation about this. This conversation will be live. Your face will not be on YouTube, so don't worry. But they will be able to hear our conversation and I can give y'all some pointers if you have any questions for me. It says, though I'm actually choosing my major because I'm doing marketing to learn the skills mainly and to use them and start my own entrepreneurial journey. Hey, well, that's what's up. The one thing about it, I'm never going to tell you which majors to choose. Choose your own path. Just know what the outcomes can be and know what type of reliable work you can get outside of it. Always have a plan B. If you plan on being an entrepreneur, always have something in the background that's going for you, because a lot of us can miss out on a world of opportunity just by going all in on our dreams, but you know, ignoring what's right in front of us, if that makes sense. But I'm going to keep going on the topic real quick. Let me know in the comments if you do. Excuse me, my nose is running today. If you want to see the Zoom link and for some reason you can't see it, just let me know. I will fill you in here in a bit. Tommy says, I'm sorry that I'm not from the USA. I'm from Europe, but watch your vids and like the content. Can you give me an advice on how to pay the car loan faster? It's around $4,000, paid 300. Oh, okay. Well, Tommy, I'll need a little bit more insight on that. I mean, what's the interest rate? How much are you paying per month? It doesn't look like it'll take too long to pay off, though. And also, how much money are you making? And can you save more to put towards that car loan? And how long do you have on it? Is it a 72 month? Not 72 month. I'm tripping. How many months is it? Is it 36 months? 72 months? It might be 72 months. I don't know. I'm doing college in Canada, just 2 years, a diploma. I got a fortunately I got a scholarship, 2.5K per term, which fully pays my tuition and more. Additionally, my family paid for my Oh, well, that's awesome. So right now, Llama Boy, something I would tell you, something that I wish I would have done when I was in college. I was very much involved on campus. I was in drumline. I was in a fraternity. I was in my church. I was in the praise band, and I was the leader of the praise band and playing the drums there. I did a lot on campus, but when it came to work, I didn't do a lot of work. If you could do any part-time work while you're doing this, I think that would be valuable just because you can get a taste for how the work world is if you haven't already, but also that money you get can straight up go towards Roth IRA. It can go towards investing. I mean, if only I'd have learned. I have somebody in the waiting room, so I'm going to answer them here in a second. But if only I had learned ahead of time what Bitcoin was, what VOO and BTI was. And if some of y'all don't know what it is, it's okay. But I wish I learned some of these things earlier on. I'd be, I think I'm doing well now, but I'd be doing really, really well. So let me go ahead and answer this call real quick. Whoops. Let me know if you can hear me, Liam. Liam, can you hear me? Connecting to audio. Liam is connecting to audio right now. Liam, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Do you have a question or any insight on the topic tonight?
Well, I'm Llama Boy. I just discovered your channel like today.
Oh, that's right. Okay, Llama Boy, what's up?
Yeah. I was just unpacking all my stuff and I'm just about getting ready for bed. But
Okay, cool,
saw,
cool.
saw your live and I thought that was pretty cool. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna be going live from now on because I'm better with connecting to people when it's just me talking to them. Guys in the chat, guys and girls in the chat, let me know if y'all can hear our discussion. I have it coming from a different device, but yeah, if you have any questions right now or any questions on what I just said, let me know because now that I'm talking to you directly, I'd be more than happy. One of the things that I was saying earlier in this live is that the biggest purpose of this channel, besides personal finance, is to build better men. And if you're just starting college, I think advice or insight that I can give you can help you graduate ahead of majority of men. So I'd be more than happy to help with that.
yeah. Well, I didn't come prepared with like any questions or anything. I'm just trying to learn.
Oh, absolutely. There's not a problem with that. Yeah, but if you do have any questions, that's fine. What I'll do for right now, then, Llama Boy, is I'll go ahead and I'll mute you, but if you do have any questions, go ahead, raise your hand, and if people start to join in, we can have like a group discussion as well. I know you said you're getting ready for bed, so I don't expect you to be on this whole time, but right now I'm going to address some more questions that we have over here in the chat and see how that goes.
All right.
All right, appreciate you. Let's see. All right. Tommy says it's all around 5 year deal, $80 per month, but I'm saving up to put bigger money in it. My monthly income is kind of low, um, but I managed to save $200 per month. Okay. Well, I don't fully know your situation, Tommy. If you'd like, you can join on Zoom as well, and we can talk about it there too. Just because it'll be easier for me to help you, because right now I'm basically just having to guess more and more about your situation. So I'd love to help out, but it seems like if you paid a few extra dollars per month, you could knock it out pretty quickly. And just so everybody knows, part of the reason I took a 8 month break off of YouTube is simply because I've been working on a financial app. I've been so irritated with the financial apps we have out here. So um, things like Monarch, and this is no shame to them. This is just me saying, like, I've personally used Personal Capital. I've used Monarch. I've used Mint, and Mint was by far my favorite one, but Mint no longer exists, right? And even Mint didn't have some of the things that I was looking for. So every dollar, right? The Dave Ramsey one. Love Dave Ramsey, not a huge fan of the app. And I say all that to say I've been developing an app, and part of the app's functionality is actually showing you can put in your debt. So for you, your car note, Tommy, you could put that in, and you can put, hey, hypothetically, if I put an extra $20 per month, how much quicker? It'll give you an exact date of when you'll be out of debt. So that app is still in beta mode right now. I'm still having some people test it, but maybe by next live or a couple lives from now, it'll be ready for y'all to check out and see if y'all like it or not. But it's AI powered, so it also helps you budget. So instead of you looking at everything yourself, it gives you a straight up summary of your tendencies, and there's the AI chat bot attached to it. You can ask it questions and all these fun things. It's called WealthSync AI. So that actually just reminded me of that. I wasn't going to bring it up, but that's a real world use of how that's real world use of how my app is going to be changing the game for some of y'all. So we just got another comment from Kat. I can't wait to move out of my parents, but I had to quit my job. Oh, Llama Boy has a question. Okay, 1 second. Let me. Yes, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Hello. Um, I'm pretty new to investing overall, so I'm sure you cover it in your videos, but I was just wondering, like, if you're in college again, or like you're 18 or 19, what like investing habits would you start? Like, would you spend money on like index funds or like ETFs? Yeah, I'm not even sure what those being fully, but or would you like spend more of that money on like learning skills and like knowledge and you know what I mean?
No, that's an absolutely fine question, Llama Boy. Did y'all hear his question? I hope y'all heard his question. He was asking basically how would I invest if I were in college again? What would I spend my money on and things like that. So I'm going to answer that because that's a very, very good question. And this is why I'm so glad I got on live today, because these are the types of questions I want to hear. So check this out, Llama Boy. This is what I would do. I wish I knew what index funds and ETFs were when I was in college. And for anyone who doesn't know, ETFs are called exchange traded funds. Y'all don't have to know a bunch to be able to put your money into things that make you rich over time. But I do give a lot of information and insight on what those things are. William, what's up? I can see you. So yes, I would. If Because let me just give you a quick story to kind of help you understand why I would do what I would do. Just instead of telling you what I would do, I'm going to give you the why behind it, because the reason why a lot of people don't invest now is because they don't know the why. They don't know if it's valuable to invest in something, especially when they're going by a small percentage. Oh, it's 15% a year or it's 10% a year. What's that going to do for me? It can do a lot. Understand how the math works. So, Liam, this is what I would do. I was in my engineering economics class, and we had to learn about this thing called compound interest. And the professor, he was going over this example. He was saying, would y'all rather me give you $1 million today, or would you rather me give you a penny every single day but double that amount every single day? And everybody, of course, said $1 million. I was like, the penny thing sounds suspicious. It sounds crazy. I'm going to choose the penny one. And the penny example ended up coming out to like, I think 4, 5, or 6 million dollars. So you would have made multiples on what the person that made a million would have made. You would have just had to wait 30 days. The key was he's doubling it every day for 30 days, or just give you a million up front. And it takes a while to start seeing anything from the pennies, but by about day 15 or so, and then day 20, then day 25, then day uh, 29, that's when you're like, man, I've crossed the million mark. I'm like 2 million, 3 million in. And then it doubles again on that last day, 30 days. There's a few, you can pull it up online. There's a few examples of it. Just type in that question if you're curious about it, but that's how that math works. But anyway, he was saying that is the main thing you will learn in this class. Y'all are going to be working in careers that have 401ks. Y'all need to understand how important it is. So this is how compound interest is going to work. And I was like, wow. But I had, at the time, the internet didn't have a lot of information about investing or anything like that, at least that I could find. I would be looking up how to make extra money. It would be telling me to take surveys on Amazon for, 10 cents for like, 30 minutes worth of work. Like it was stupid. But I wish I would have known then what I know now. If I would have known about the S&P 500, and if I would have known about the ETFs that track the S&P 500 like VOO, you know what I mean? Or other that track other indexes. But long story short, I would definitely look at index funds if I knew about Bitcoin in college. I'm not telling y'all to go all in on crypto, but Bitcoin is special. I would have put whatever I had, not all my money, but whatever I could spare in the Bitcoin. That thing was like worth maybe a couple $1,000s when I was in college. So if I would have bought a partial amount of Bitcoin, it's 100 and something $1,000s right now. You know what I mean? So there's that's like a that's more of like a risky investment because it fluctuates. But the stock market, what Liam here is talking about, Liam aka Llama Boy, what he's talking about is index funds and ETFs. Those are the reliable ones. Those are, in my opinion, those are the ones that I invest in no matter what. I don't care what the market's doing. I'm putting the same amount in every single month. And if I can do more, I'll do more. Especially if a crash happens, that's a signal to me. I'm going to go ahead and put more money in because when it goes back to normal, I'm going to make multiples. So people think, oh, it's an average of 15%. Look, you can't go by that. I go by experience, and I've shown several times my own examples of how my own portfolios have been performing. That's experience. So 15% and then another 15%, that is, so if you have $100 and it increases by 15%, right? That's $115. When you gain the next 15% the next year, you're not just getting another $15. You're getting 15% of $115. So now if you magnify that into $10,000, you see what I'm saying? It's going to compound and you're going to make more and more money. And then these things have dividends, and those dividends can get reinvested and essentially make your compounding power more and more and more. So not to bore everybody if you're not into investing. I know y'all came in here to learn how to move out and things, but I wanted to just share that because if I would have known that in college, saving money wouldn't have been a part of the equation because I was so focused out of college. How do I save my first 20,000? I was figuring out how to have like a safety net in case the career that I was in, because the job I had at the time was very toxic and they would threaten people's jobs all the time. I was like, I need to have a safety net so if I get fired, I'm okay. If I had invested in these things, I could have been up several thousands of dollars and liquidated just a little bit of it just to have a safety net. It's so much cooler to say, I have so much money in my investments that I have an extra $30,000 that are not even part of my original investment. That's just how much I earned. So you know what? I'm gonna liquidate 10,000 of that and put it into my high yield savings account that's gaining a little bit of money for me as well in the background. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would 100% do if I were in college at this very moment. So hopefully that answered your question. I got really excited when you asked me that, Liam, because I wish more people would ask those questions at the age that you are now. Not sure how old you are, but I'm sure you're young, like probably 18, 19, maybe 20, maybe more. I don't know. But point is, you're young enough that your money has time to mature inside of these investments. And as these investments grow, whew, I'm telling you right now, I mean, just like Simon, he's one of my students. He's only 22. He's killing the game. He is out earning probably 80% of grown men right now in America. And he's investing regularly. So there's no reason why you couldn't be in a similar, if not a better spot once you graduate, Liam. So hopefully that answered your question. Did you have any other questions, Liam?
Yeah, I just turned 18 by the way, like a month ago.
Oh man.
But I've, I just want to like speak my mind a little bit because I feel like the most important thing is to look at because I'm in Canada, like the Canadian equivalent of a 401k, which I think is called a tax-free savings account.
Yeah.
And basically just invest however much I can while I'm in school. I don't know if you saw in the chat, but my schooling from scholarship should be paid for my first 2 years
Mm-hmm.
from a scholarship. And then my residence for my first year right now is already paid from my grandparents and my parents. So I just need to pay for like food basically. And I like eating really healthy. So like food and clothes. But
Mm-hmm.
besides that, I should focus on maxing out my tax-free savings account as fast as possible into like index funds and ETFs, right?
Absolutely. And one thing I will caution you about, and this is something that I'm not familiar with Canada, but just look into this thing called expense ratios so you can understand how much money you're spending to keep some of those funds, because some of them, it may not, you're not going to feel it right away because it's incremental. Just like your earnings would be incremental if you invested, their taking of your money will be incremental too. And there's this big large study that was launched. It was all over TV on 60 Minutes, but basically 401ks and things similar, the money that is in 401ks are in certain types of funds that are run by people who are basically taking a big cut of it over time, and like 2/3 of people's earnings have been just vanishing into thin air because of all the fees. There's a lot of fees that are associated with it. So this is very high level, like very much in the game information. But if you could look into that, that'll help you get even further ahead. But I'm extremely proud of where you are right now on your financial journey. So that's and guys and girls, that's why I wanted to do this. I want to help people write their wealth journals and understand where they're at right now and where they are going to be in the future. So that's really cool. I'm going to read off a few comments real quick before I move on to my next topic. Okay. It says, Kat says, I can't wait to move out. I think I already read. Oh, no, I didn't. I can't wait to move out of my parents, but I had to quit my job completely to take care of my grandparents, and I ended up going to school. I ended up stopped going to school. I was going to tech college. Sorry to hear that. I kind of have to start over my life at the age of 26. Well, Kat, if you want, feel free to call in and we can talk about it and see what you're looking at going forward. If you want to. If you don't want to, that's fine too. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Sometimes life happens, everyone, and sometimes you have to take a step back and do what's important and do what's important for the people that you care about and love. So that's 100% understandable. Cassidy says, I've been lucky enough to test it with him. It's so cool. Oh, she's talking about my app. Yeah, so when that's ready, I will let you all know. I'm super excited about it. I literally stayed up all night last night working on it because there was this one last problem I had to figure out. I figured it out, but it took just about everything out of me. Tommy says, yeah, I'm kind of in my bro's room. Can't really speak, but just wanted to know if the payment of it has to be my priority. Well, that's kind of a loaded question. Let's see. 5 years, $80 per month. Well, can you share with me what the interest rate is? What's the interest rate on that? I don't. The only thing I would say is if you're going to be eaten alive by the interest rate, it's not good. Llama Boy says he's going to bed now, but overall, it seems like what matters most for me would be one, budget and set aside a good amount of income. Two, learn about 401k equivalent in Canada. Three, invest. Absolutely. Yeah. You have a good night, sir, and hopefully, once you get to applying all of these things, you will see crazy amounts of money. Good job being ahead of everybody. You have a good night. All right, so he's getting off of Zoom. If anyone else wants to call in, let me know. Tommy says, so like in the first 2 years, the interest rate is 50-50. Like, is it 3%, 5%, 8% APY? While one moment, let me check a few things real quick before I keep going. Checking my channel because I'm on a weird view right now. That was some very good conversation. Very good conversation. Do me a favor, give this video. Okay, we got some more likes. Give this video a like if you're just joining in. Kind of confused the question. I will re-answer. Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. All right, one moment. Let me get myself situated. I will get this technology thing figured out one way or another. Right now, though, I'm gonna put my phone down since nobody's calling the Zoom room. Llama Boy says I might stick around for 5 to 10 minutes just to listen. I do have one more newbie question. In a 401k, do they invest it for you? Is that why there's high fees? So, yes and no. You basically get with your employer, your HR department, whoever, they tell you about the 401k. And then what you do is you choose if you might have Fidelity or Vanguard. In Canada, I'm not sure who you would have, but you'd have like Fidelity, Vanguard, Charles Schwab, or some company like that, some brokerage like that, and you would choose like a more aggressive, a more conservative type of vibe. And if you're younger, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you're younger, it makes more sense to choose something aggressive because your money has more time to mature and it's going to grow by more. And plus, the more conservative one is going to have more bonds. And when you're younger, the people who put money in bonds are older people, basically. So, yeah. But yes, it's a mutual fund, which are run by people. And they have a lot of fees. And if matter of fact, let me just look up all the 401k fees. So let me see. 401k fees. So there's investment fees, there's plan administration fees, there's individual service fees, participation fee disclosure, plan representative, there's advertisement fees. And so if you look at something like the NFL and there's commercials on Super Bowl night or something like that, and you see Fidelity or you see Vanguard, that money's coming out of people's 401ks. It's a real thing. It's not a conspiracy. It's a legitimate fact. It's a real thing. That is part of it. Just look up the 401k fees attached to whichever company you have 401k in. That's a real thing. I thought I put my money in and then I can invest it however I want, manage it myself. Not really. Your 401k, you don't have as much leeway. It's not like a Roth IRA. Now, in a Roth IRA, which is different, it's, completely different. But you can control exactly if you're investing in stocks, if you're investing in ETFs, index funds, bonds. You can control it in a Roth IRA. In a 401k, you're very much limited, assuming the USA version is similar to Canada's. I'm not sure, but I would think they would be. Pretty sure they would be similar. Tommy says, so the amount of total price the bank charges me is the interest rate, or well, like if you bought it for 4,000, Tommy, if you bought it for $4,000, right, or that was the price, but you spent $300, monthly loan is 83, half of it is $41.5. All right, let me do this. Let me do some math. So you said it's 5 years, right? Times 12 months, that's 60 months, right? And so what we're going to do is times that by 83. That's $4,980. So there's definitely an interest rate attached to that. So let's see. I can't do math right now, but basically there's an interest rate. So basically you would be paying almost $1,000 more by the time your payments are done. So what you can do is you can spend more than the 83 to knock all that stuff out quicker. Should it be a priority? It's not like paying off a credit card where I'll be like, make it your priority. It's still an interest rate, but for whatever reason, they should have an interest rate attached to it though. Because literally I'm still legal, underage, mid-big credit in my country. I have 23 years. That is why I put 5 years, and so much interest rate. All right, 1 second. Give me one moment. I want to answer your question. 1 second, good people. Let me play some music for y'all so y'all can see it for this stream and not click off getting bored. One moment. So your term was for 5 years. You're looking at a 4.9% interest rate. That's what you're looking at. So the quicker you knock this down, the better it's going to be for you. I'm not going to say to rush though. If you don't have that much money to spare, it's going to be a different story for you. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Now, when you start stacking other bills and things on top of that, that's going to be a different thing, because then you have to think about rent on top of your car payment, on top of utilities, on top of whatever else. So, so you can't hear me. Okay, one moment. Okay, I couldn't tell if that was loud or not. Sorry about that. But anyway, you see what I'm saying? It's not the individual debt that gets people. It's that plus whatever else they have going on in their lives. And that's why I wanted to, getting back to the topic of moving out, we have to understand these concepts early on. So having that in-depth knowledge, like when you want to have any endeavor in life, whether you want to get promoted, whether you want to make more money, whether you want to do more things, the requirement level has to go up for you. It has to. If you want to date someone, right? Like something is required of you. So you need to think in different ways. You need to think in ways that you probably haven't thought of before. So if you know you have a car payment, that's one aspect. what about everything else? If you go to school, then that's student loans. Then what else is there? There's rent, there's utilities, there's groceries, there's all kinds of other things. Yeah, but at least I don't have the rent. I live in my parents' condo, and I plan to work the summer in Germany, squeeze all the money. Uh, to answer your question, I would pay it off as quickly as possible, but I couldn't say that I would rush, you know, like just as quickly as you can. If you don't have any outstanding bills or anything, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to knock it out much quicker than what your term is. What daily and weekly money habits should I build now that will compound the most by the time I'm 30? So by the time you're my age, is there anything you'd say beyond master budgeting and long-term investing? Just wondering. That's a good question. By the time you're 30, long-term investing, what I would say is learn about earning potential. Um, Learn about more about your field, master your craft, invest into your own education outside of even just college. Earlier, when you asked me if you should focus your money on, sorry, I'm just checking Zoom. You asked me if you should spend money on your education. My thought was, well, you're in college, so you're already doing the education thing right now. There's nothing wrong with that. But earning potential matters because that is what determines how much money you can invest. And that will determine how strict you'll have to be when you do budget. And that's a big thing a lot of people kind of neglect in life and then spend their late 20s and early 30s complaining about the fact that their money isn't looking right or they can't go on vacation with their wives and kids without worrying about their financial situation collapsing. You know what I mean? They get mad when they don't get promotions at work because the thing is, if you find ways to make money within a career and outside of a career, you're just not going to be really worried about money like that. So if you don't get a promotion, it's not going to be too much of a sweat for you. So that's what I would say. Outside of master budgeting and long term investing, which sounds super boring and super simple, harder to do, harder to apply than it sounds, focus on earning potential. See what you can really get out of your education. You're as young as you will ever be right now. Um, you probably don't have as many responsibilities as a person who's like married and has kids and has like all these other things and events they have to go to and having to go to uh, gosh, what is that stuff called? Going to the school, going to football games, going to softball games, and things like that. There's nothing wrong with these things, obviously, but while you're young and you can get as much money as you can possibly get and learn as many skills as you can possibly get so that when you are older, your earning potential grows, that is only going to help you so that when you do have kids and they want to do certain things that cost money, because hobbies cost money, sports cost money, and you want them to be good at what they do, and you start putting them into camps and clinics where people who are specialized at these things, whether it's football, whether it's cheerleading, whether it's gymnastics, whether it's drumline, whether it's band, whether it's whatever you can think of, playing the piano, things cost money. So if you focus on your earning potential right now, you've probably heard six figures, $100,000. Look, by the time you get out, the $300,000 is going to be the new $100,000. So think about it that way. Think about what your particular goal is when you get out of college, and that is going to behoove you because you'll have a different set of standards than everyone else. Everyone else is going to be going by the status quo and believing, oh well, making X amount is okay because that's what the average is for the area that I'm in. Look, we're not trying to do average around here. We're out here to take no prisoners. We're out here to get as much money as we can possibly make and live as comfortable as we can possibly live and invest our money and let that grow and let that money make money for us to the point where that money is out earning our yearly salary. That is what the goal is. Because the uni is in the middle. That is why I will work in the summer. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool, Tommy. Yo, this is too interesting to me. I'll listen to the replay, but one more. Is Moo Moo good? Does that broker thing actually matter? I don't know what Moo Moo is, Llama Boy. I'm not quite sure what that is. But the brokerage you pick, it does matter. Make sure it's FDIC insured. Make sure it's reputable. I mean, I hate when people say the average compared to normal. Man, I'm going to blow normal out of the water, not to blend in with an NPC. And for y'all who don't know what NPC is, that's non-playable character. You know what I'm saying? Life is like a video game, and you can't be out here being like everybody else, because then you have problems everybody else has. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't want those problems. That's why this platform exists. Okay, ortholithic mixtapes. I'm a fresh high school grad who got out of a 2-year welding program. Good for you. Congratulations. I didn't get hired at this one shop I applied to because my welding skills were okay. Should I get an apprenticeship or go for something more immediate but not long term like roofing? I'm really determined to move out, and I don't want to sit and wait around thinking of what to do. Well, I mean, I don't know much about the welding world, but just how my mindset works, ortholithic mixtapes is whatever I didn't have, doubling down on what those skills were within welding that I missed. Whether that's getting that apprenticeship, whether that's learning from someone else, or whatever. I don't know how that stuff works, but don't wait around. Waiting around is something I would definitely say I don't want to see anybody doing, because time moves by quick. You'll blink and you'll wake up and you'll be 10 years older, wondering what to do next. You know what I mean? So definitely keep it moving. But being that you're fresh out of high school and you got out of a 2-year welding program, that's already good. So you're already on the right track. You've gone into a trade, and there's a lot of respect that I have for trades. So just keep that up. I always say if money's dry right now, working somewhere, I mean, there's no shame in my game working. I used to work at Food Lion. If y'all don't know what it is, that's a grocery store on the East Coast. I used to stock up shelves in between semesters at college to pay for my books. Like, find whatever work that pays you something while you're building your goals in the background. So I don't know how apprenticeships work, but I don't want you waiting around either. So doing both. Hopefully that answers your question. Tommy says, you have been really helpful, Reggie. Thanks much. You are a nice structural mentor. I will make sure I drop the message or even a call in the next period to give you an update. Cheers. All right. Cheers, Tommy. Appreciate you. All right. For those of y'all just joining in, make sure you hit the like button. I want to see as many likes as there are people. Let's see how many views we have right now. 42. Wow. That's crazy. I don't know how many are viewing right at the moment, but 42 views total. That's pretty cool. I haven't had that many on a live stream. Live streams are hard to get a lot of views. But anyway, or at least in the beginning, like my channel doesn't really have things. So what financial red flags should college students watch out for? Is it just the obvious stuff? I think it is simple. Red flags. I'll say this. In college, there were a lot of people on campus walking around talking about, oh, we're entrepreneurs. And they were basically selling programs. And it was part of MLM, which is the multi-level marketing program. I'm not trying to trash talk them, but they're not going to make you money. They're just not. And they can be costly. So look out for that. Not investing while you're in college when you know about investing, Llama Boy, that right there is a red flag. Dating the wrong girl or guy, whatever, however y'all roll, that can be costly. But again, I always say this channel is for men, so I'm speaking to the men. Dating the wrong person and spending a bunch of money and not really watching where your money's going, that's a red flag. You don't have much to worry about though, Llama Boy. Like, you're in a really good spot. So the best thing you can do is just learn what you can learn and really understand where this AI stuff is going, understand where technology as a whole is going. So I know you're a marketing guy, but look into how AI can help marketing and how you could potentially use AI in your marketing business. Look at the AI companies like Nvidia, like AMD. Look into the microchips and things like that. I ain't dating, bruh. Terrible financial decision. Hey, it's in college people date, man, and terrible emotional decision. It can be. It most definitely can be. But all that to say, this is for all the people watching, because I dated in college and dated the wrong girl. That happens. But you learn things out of that. But red flags, you pretty much know what to avoid right now. Don't be spending crazy amounts of money on credit cards. And then having thousands of dollars you got to pay back, and now you feel stressed out because the interest rate is growing at a faster rate than you can pay it down. Things like that. Apprenticeships are like a paid 4-year experience where you learn the trade. I don't want to do that because I spent my whole life in the education system and really just want to get out there. Well, um, how long should it take a welder to be up to speed? I mean, is that the actual thing you want to get into? Matter of fact, ortholithic mixtape. Why don't you call line and get on Zoom and we can talk about this, because it's kind of hard for me to keep going back and forth with you on the chat. But from what I understand, you want to move out of your parents' house, but you want to grow in your career as well, and you want to make money. Um, would a 4-year apprenticeship slow you down? I know you've been in the education system for a while, but would that really slow you down, or would that enhance your skill set? What is it that you want to do with welding in the first place, and how much money could you expect to be making? Ortholithic mixtapes. Let me drop it for you. Um, 1 second. Call line is right here. God, this copy and paste mess is getting ridiculous. All right. Here it is right here. Do me a favor, click that. I'll be right back. My nose is running. Give me one moment. Oh, man. Honestly, last question. What video do you recommend I watch from your YouTube channel? Man, watch, go on YouTube. Watch my video about how to be financially stable. It's a popular video. It's a good video. Um, I talk about this thing called the Gains Principle. It stands for uh, getting started, adulting, investing wisely. That's the key point. Net worth building, and then the S is going to be for succession. So that's what all those stand for, and it kind of walks you through every phase of where you're at in your personal finances. So getting started is going to be people who are looking to move out of their parents' house, make a name for themselves, start earning some income. Adulting is, when you're in the workforce, you're looking 401k, Roth IRA, that type of stuff. But if you do the getting started right, you already have some of that set up to begin with. And then so on and so forth. I go over a long tangent. It's a pretty long video. I think it's like 40 or so minutes, but yeah, man, watch stuff like that. And my videos often refer to other videos and things like that. I haven't made a video in like 8 months, so you could probably jump into a rabbit hole of videos because each video does truly link to the other. So yeah, start with the financially stable one. You're already ahead of the game. Bro, I can't get myself off this live. You're great, man. Thank you. Is a dividend portfolio silly? No, it's not silly. But the thing about dividend stocks and dividend ETFs, they don't grow as aggressively as like what I call a broad-based ETF or a broad-based index fund, which has all the sectors in it. Dividends are not typically every single sector. They're very specific sectors. So communications, for example, AT&T, dividend stock, right? There's Lowe's, there's Home Depot, there's God, let me look at the dividend stocks. I actually have a whole list of like 100 the dividend stocks and all that stuff. There's VYM, which is the dividend ETFs. Those don't grow um, as aggressively. So what they do is they'll pay you more in dividend than the other ones, but they might flatline or they might even go down. So if you have a large amount of cash that you're putting in there, that's what a lot of people do to keep their for wealth sustainability. I just got somebody joining the call line, so I'm going to go ahead and admit them real quick. While they're joining in, one moment, Ortholytics mixtapes, one moment. But appreciate having you on the Zoom call. Uh, is it silly? No, to have the dividend portfolio? No, but it's something that you build when you have a lot of money, so that you can get literal paychecks out of them. Like you would be astonished at how much money it actually takes. Um, Oops, sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. You would be astonished at how much money it takes just for a dividend portfolio to pay you $5,000 a month. It takes a lot of money. So that same money that you put in to get that much to get $5,000 a month, if you were in a growth type of portfolio or if you were in a broad-based ETF, pretty sure the broad-based ETF would greatly outperform that. You would get a lot more money out of it. But yeah, so is it silly? No. Is it something that I tell my people on Wealth Journey Collective to do? Not so much. But we have a caller in mixtapes. Can I? What's your name, sir?
Worthaholics mixtapes.
Oh, I've been saying it wrong the whole time.
That's okay.
Well, what do you have for me on this fine evening?
Well, I just wanted to share with you some of my experiences and what where I should take my career path. I did welding for 2 years, as you know, as I told, but I went to this job interview. I didn't get the job because I was told my welding skills are subpar and that I need some time for improvement and to work on my skills. Now, I've gone back and forth with some of my close peoples about doing an apprenticeship. I really don't want to do that because I'm at a point in my life where I really just want to start getting out on my own and, moving on and upgrading into real life, except of just like doing another 4 years of school again.
Yeah.
Whether I'm being paid or not, I just really want to start getting out there. And I never really liked welding to begin with.
Oh.
But, I just, there's good money to be made in it, and I spend a lot of the times right now just thinking if I should even pursue it. Other trades idea, what should I do? But I really don't want to do right now is to just sit and wait and think about what to do when I could be making money.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say you didn't do welding, because it sounds to me that it's not like your biggest thing, and you definitely don't want to spend 4 more years learning about it. So, what other interests do you have? Like, what other type of work are you looking to go into?
Just like the only things that I could see realistic that have that I think have an actual future for me would be commercial fishing or something in the trade. Something where I'm moving around, not something where I'm using math or really calculating a lot. I've really been too good at those things. So I think a trade is really only where I can shine and make a future for myself.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 18.
Okay.
Or wait, no, 19. I'm 19 now. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's still early in the game for you. So let me ask you
Right.
this: when do you want to move out of your parents' house?
Preferably like only in this October, you know. But with the way things are going, like that seems to be more of an ambitious goal than a true goal. But I that would be preferably when I can by
Okay.
like October.
All right. So let's break this down. Do you know what like? There's obviously like requirements to move out. So
Yeah.
what are those to you? Like for you, what are your standards? That what are the metrics you have to meet before you're like, okay, I can move out of my parents' house. I'm comfortable. I'm good.
I want like at least $3,000 to $5,000 in my savings to cover first month's rent and any of the other necessary stuff to like a down payment and all that just to get started. I agree with a lot of what you said about like you should save up 20,000
Hmm.
to like move out, but I just think that's a lot. That's a lot of time that I really don't want to necessarily commit and just like sit here in my mom's house for another year, just like socking away when I think I can realistically like be out way earlier than that. Just because like I'm not the type to really like quit a job if I don't like it or not. If I'm committed to it, I'm committed to it. And I just feel like life can life has its way of working out in the end of something like that. But just having like a stable job, being able to meet rent, and having bills and a vehicle to take me from point A to B, fine. That's what I would consider stable and well-rounded moving out situation.
Okay. What area do you live in?
I live in St. Louis,
Okay. Okay. Missouri, right?
Missouri.
Okay. Um, how much are you making right now?
Zero.
So that's gonna make October about impossible. But
I guess.
so you're fresh out of high school, right?
Yeah.
Fresh out of high school, you have 2 years of welding under your belt right now.
Right.
And how many welding jobs have you applied to?
Just this one. I mean, like, I still had to keep up with regular schooling with my training program. That was like the requirement, and that really took a lot of my time and a lot of it to do that. I couldn't really pursue other jobs and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you can see, I'm kind of in problem solving mode right now. So I'm just
Yeah.
gonna.
I mean, I get like there's not a lot to build off of, and there's not a whole lot for me to offer. But my main question is just like, besides just like personal, if I even want to pursue welding or not at this point, if like a 4 year is the smartest thing to do or not. Just like, what should be what I do now? Because I know I'm at the point where I should make something that is career building and something that I can jump off of, but I also feel like I can't just sit around thinking about what I should do when like I could be making money with something like roofing that's not as like long term, but I would at least be making money to some degree. Maybe even enough to move out.
Well, that is a fine question. So
Yeah.
there's a few facts here. You're 19 years old. Right now,
Mm-hmm.
you're not in work. You don't really want to do welding. You don't really see the 4 years thing. I can only really tell you what I would do if I were in your shoes. So here's what I would do.
Yeah.
Um, you're 19, so after 4 years, you'll be what 22, 23, depending on when your birthday
Something
is.
like that. Yeah.
So that's not that bad. Do you know how much you can expect to make as a welder?
from 18 to 25 an hour, but apprenticeships are usually a little better paying because they're part of unions, and unions are a lot more like structured, and there's a lot more to do in a union than like if you're just doing like private work. So you could, but like in between 18 to like 25 dollars an hour is what I could expect to make if I'm doing good in welding, you know. And like I'm willing to take welding if it's you know, an optimal career path, and like I'm willing if I could see money through it. It's just that like I don't like it, and I'm not, you know, I'm just at that place right now where it's like I don't know if it's worth pursuing, because welding is one of those things where it's like the better you are, you know, the more money that you can make with it. And it's almost like you have to kind of like love it to a certain degree because of like the better paying jobs are like more rigorous, and they require you to just take more time and effort and like out of your way stuff to do it. And so like that's another thing with this 4-year is that if I take it and I'm just like not good at the end of it, then I mean I just spent the last 4 years of my life just like, you know, learning a trade that I'm not ultimately good at, you know.
Okay, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
So there's two scenarios. If I were you,
Mm-hmm.
I'd 18 to 25 doesn't sound like that much for you to go through 4 years of education for. It doesn't sound like that much because you're talking about moving out of your parents' house, out of your mom's house, and
Mm-hmm.
living on your own, taking care of your bills, and you probably want to have fun every now and then and be able to buy nice things for yourself. 18
Yes.
to 25, at you'll be 23 or so, and the economy could be in a completely different place at that time. So for you, one thing I learned when I was in school is that factory jobs, because you mentioned factory, which got me thinking. Factory jobs actually pay more than like retail and things like that. I would look for a full time job since you are fresh out of high school. Most factory jobs require a high school education, which you have, and
Mm-hmm.
so doing a factory job as an operator or as a material handler or something of that nature may not be what you want to do. But if you're talking about building a
Okay.
career, because you could do that, you could do shift work, work half the week, or some of them are 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. You could do that, and you could be making that $18 to $25 right now, and then you can learn whatever you want outside of that. But you got to look for you. If I were you, I would be looking heavily into what field can I get into right now at 19 years old. That by the time I'm done with it, I'll increase my salary by $10 an hour or something like that. Because it sounds like you don't want welding. It sounds like it's not the biggest interest for you. But also, I would say be more confident. No matter what you get into, don't look at it like, well, if I'm not done once I get out of it in 4 years, and I'm just not good. Like I want you to think like this. Look, by the time I'm out of this, I will be good. I will make myself to where I separate myself from everybody else in the same category as me and rise above every single one of them. Because when you think like that, you start acting differently, you talk differently, because in my mind, when I was in college, there was no possibility that I wouldn't get work within my field because I knew I was going to separate myself from everybody else. So it's a bit of a mental shift, but no matter what you decide to do, that's what I would do because
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, look, waiting is the biggest enemy of a man. So
I
you're
agree with
19.
you. I agree with you for sure.
Yeah, because if you're 19 right now and you feel like you're waiting, it's like, okay, well, at least you can get work right now in a factory or whatever. You know, I don't know what type of companies they have near you, but think of companies like Procter and Gamble, um,
Yeah.
Goodyear, Hershey's, companies like that where you make things in batches or whatever the case is. and that work is relatively simple. It has a skill set behind it, but you don't need
Sure,
any
yeah.
credentials, any degrees, but they pay. So that's
Mhm.
that's that's what I would say. That's what I would say for you. But you have a lot of potential, and since you're listening to this stream, you can learn a lot of the things that you should do once you do get a job. But to me, it sounds like you don't like welding at all. Is that true?
That is true, but I mean, I also am of the opinion that like I don't have to like welding. You
Yeah.
know, like it's a job at the end of the day, and if it can just fuel the things that I do like to do, then more power to it. You know, it's just really about since welding is really kind of one of those things where once you're better at it, you get more money, and the more you dedicate to it, like the higher pay that you get from it. But it's just that at that where I am right now, like I'm okay,
Hmm.
and like I just don't know if like with the amount of heart that I have into it, that if I can really like keep the locomotive going, you know.
Do you know what specifically about your welding was subpar?
Just like yeah, I think most of it was just the fact that it didn't hold necessarily well, or that like it was so I was doing MIG welding, which was like you have to lay um your weld and like the copper that you melt into it. Oh, my phone's fine.
Hmm.
You have to lay the copper and weld into like the material like perfectly like on top of each other, like beads, you know, like dimes on top of dimes, and like it wasn't the nicest looking weld for sure, and that I don't think it really penetrated all too well into the material that it was supposed to. I think that's what it was.
So, remember how I told you there's two scenarios? That was the first one about the factory work. Probably,
Mm-hmm.
probably not ideal, but if another thing, if I were you, I would look into like YouTube videos of how to whatever you felt like was subpar, or they felt like was subpar, whether it's keeping the welds to hold or making the weld look good. I would just look at video after video, wherever you can practice welding at, practice that. You don't necessarily have to do an apprenticeship, but it sounds like you just interview to one place.
Yep.
Why not interview five different places, 10 different places, and because it sounds like right now you need work and you want to have a skill set, but behind said work, and the better you get with it, whether you like it or not. And I like that attitude because work is work. As a man, like you do what
Yeah.
you got to do to put food on the table. So I definitely
Yeah.
respect that mindset. So I would look into that, and I would just keep improving my welding skills. So going into one of those categories, factory work, welding, one or the other, I don't. There's no reason why you can't do either one of those. And then guess what? The outcome would be $18 to $25 at 19 years old, which would minimize you having to wait that 4 years for. So I can't, of course, solve every single problem or know
Yeah, of
every
course.
single
Yeah. I
outcome,
understand
but
that.
but the way you're thinking is good because you're coming on this platform, you're asking questions, and you're seeing what your options are. Just in my mind right now, that's what I would look to do. Especially if we're talking about moving out of your mom's house, we're talking about building a skill set now, stacking up that money, that $3,000 to $5,000. I would challenge you to make that $10,000. But whatever you end up choosing to do, at least then you'll build confidence along the way. And then when you do move out, you'll know exactly all the other things that we talked about. So the things in the meantime you can do is look at the average rent in your area, in safe areas at that, because I'm sure you don't want to just live anywhere. So look at how much the average rent is going to cost. Look at the cost of living. Look at utilities. I don't know if you have a car or not, but gas prices, all these things that you would be spending on. And once you compare that against whatever salary you would be making, that's going to prepare you for moving out. So it might not be by October, but it could be January 2026. It could be December. Like you don't know where things. A lot of things can change between now and then. Does that make sense?
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. So ultimately, what you're saying is that, like, I mean, just like look around, you know, just like interview multiple places, just stay moving, basically. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because okay, so something I actually do for my actual career is I help people
Mhm.
build their careers, and I help people that are similar to you that are feeling stuck or they feel like, hey, I went for this interview and I didn't get it. What should I do? I give them the same advice. Keep going.
Perfect guy to talk to.
Yeah, I mean that's my actual career in real life. That's what I do. I
Awesome.
coach and mentor people, and so I tell them make sure you don't have to be partial to just one company or one area or one department. Branch out, and you'll get more experience as you interview and try out for these different things. And when someone picks you, because there's an on the job training type of deal with every type of job there is, so they're going to put you through their version of how they want you to weld specifically for them as
Mhm.
well. So don't be discouraged by that one. You know, give it, you have time. Give it 10 tries, 20 tries. And in the meantime, you can be looking for other work in between that. But I would say don't let time just pass you by. You're a good age right now, but time goes by quick. After 18, I was 18 yesterday, now I'm 30. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
time goes by really quick.
I feel that, yeah. For a lot of things with welding, there's a lot of certificates involved too, and stuff like that that you need to acquire under your belt that I didn't have the opportunity to get, which I can at the apprenticeship, but I've already spoken about the apprenticeship side of things and my discouragement towards it. But just everything that is kind of stacked against me. Do you think that apprenticeship is still worth just checking out at the very least, or giving a shot?
I mean, I would at least look into how much would I be making during it, and
Hmm.
maybe I'm a little overly ambitious just about life in general, but what's wrong with working and doing the apprenticeship? I don't know how many hours the apprenticeship would be, granted, but looking at your goal and looking at what is required to reach that goal, I would be doing any and everything and then some just because you already have a skill set. Just because one place says you're not good enough doesn't mean everybody thinks you're not good enough. So if you did want to still sharpen up your skill set and get some more certificates, I don't see why not because it's not a waste of 4 years. You're not doing 4 years for free, you know? You would be
Yeah.
getting paid. I would just look into how much am I going to get paid. I would look for a mentor within that field, and I would look at after I get it, how many years have to go by for my salary to increase? Maybe it's not 25 an hour, maybe it's 35 an hour. What skills do you have to get to those places? Because, like you said, you don't really like welding, but a lot of people don't like their jobs, but they're still really
Yeah.
good at their jobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you could definitely do a lot with that, and then if you have interest beyond that, you can do other things as well.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. And the problem with that I have with doing an apprentice and full time is that I just don't know where the balance would be, because if I would be doing something full time like roofing and I would be going to an apprenticeship, like those would have two like very conflicting schedules to them.
So let's talk about roofing then. Um,
Yeah.
you said roofing isn't really long term. What did you mean by that?
Just in the sense that if I were to go down that path, it would just be to make some above average money right now. And because with roofing, it's sort of like there's not too many like avenues and like areas and like places that you can really like go and like get like more upgraded and better work like welding, where you can become like an underwater welder or a pipe fitter and stuff. It's really just kind of like
Hmm.
once you're a roofer, you have a roofer and you have a set amount of money that you make. You hit the ceiling very quick as a roofer. But like it would suffice my yearning to making some above average money right now, and be like, yeah, be out there making money for right now.
Well, if that has like a conflicting schedule, that's different. But I also say look at things long term. If you get above average money now, are you saying it's like seasonal work? Or are you saying you're going to have work every week? Is it reliable? And these are sort of rhetorical questions, but just think about, is it's above average money, but for what time frame? And if it's not for too long, then once you're done roofing, what's next? So as you do things, you're gonna have to figure out what's next. So sometimes it's gonna be a situation where you're kind of, building the plane as you fly it, if you will. That's pretty much what you would be doing there. So what I'm saying is you have a lot of different ways, but none of these options consist of you waiting. So the biggest thing is move, and only you can figure it out as you go. But I think making money now, starting to build that savings account up, and figuring out what it is that you want to do. And that's the hardest thing at 18, 19 years old, is figuring out what it is that you want to do within your career. Moving out becomes secondary. If you figure out what you want to do and how you're going to do it and how much money you're going to be making, moving out becomes so much easier. But if you just focus on moving out, that gets further and further away. Does that make sense? Because now you're like, I'd like to move out by October. I don't have a job right now, but I'd like to move out in October. But it's like, well, if you stop thinking about moving out and you thought more about your career and how much you would earn and what your plan is this month versus next month, and what it is that you want to do for the next few years, which is why the apprenticeship is kind of a safe bet. Even if you don't like welding, at least you would have some money coming in and you would have a plan going forward. And you talked about water welding and pipe fitting. You could look into every single one of those avenues. Just because you didn't get that one job doesn't mean that you can't get more advanced jobs down the road and make some serious money out of welding. So all that to say, you have quite a bit of potential, like a lot of potential. You just have to figure out what that looks like for you. And then the moving out is going to be super easy.
Okay, yeah, I agree. Thank you so much for your help, and I really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, good people. I am actually starting to get tired, which is bad because I'm a night shifter and it's only 9:10. We're going to keep talking about the rest of this topic, though, because I've already mentioned all the things that people aren't prepared for, and we actually just talked in depth about it. But I also want to go over priorities. A lot of young and older people, and I've never understood this, so maybe some of y'all can help me out. I don't know how many people are still watching, because I have been going a pretty long time. But and if you're new here, drop your name, age, and your location that you're watching me from. It's always cool to see that y'all are in like a different state or even a different country. It's pretty cool. But anyway, I want to talk about priorities because a lot of people prioritize fun over needs. Is fun important? Yes, it is. But it's not more important than your needs. You need to have a roof over your head, air conditioning, food, water, things like that. But getting drunk, going to clubs, having, extra fun and things like that. These are things that we need to be looking at. These are things that we need to definitely be looking at, because sometimes when you're younger, you have to make the sacrifices then. Because here, check this out. I've seen it done right. I've seen it done backwards. And there's a lot of variables. When I was growing up, people used to always tell me, yeah, your 20s are for you to make your mistakes, have your fun. No, it's not. No, it's not. Have your fun, make mistakes, date around, play in the field, make stupid financial mistakes that screw you over for the next 5-10 years. Like, does that sound healthy to you? You know what I mean? That's not what this is all about. So I had my fun when I was in college, but it didn't last long because I was like, I need to get my head on straight. I have goals and priorities. And so because it affected my grade point average, I went from a 3.7 to a 2.6 in one semester. This is my freshman year, obviously. But because I was just having fun and going to parties and I wasn't focused. I got my head on straight after that and had straight A's since then, graduated with a 3.6. Could have been a 3.8 or 3.9. You get what I'm saying? And grade point average isn't everything, but what I'm getting at is you have to, if you want something, saying it isn't enough. You actually have to do the things that give you the outcome of what you want. And that's what makes your goal happen 10 times faster, is actually focusing on the thing that you want. When I was in college, I wasn't dead set on just moving out of my parents' house. I was dead set on, how do I get the engineering job? How do I get an internship with one of the best companies in the world? Can you save this live? Rudar, yes, I will definitely save this live. It'll be up on YouTube for any and all of you to enjoy whenever you want to. But anyway, I was focused on, how do I get an internship? How do I get attention of the best companies? How do I stand out? And how do I land this job? Because I saw that there were opportunity for me to make $45,000 a year, $75,000 a year, 50, and all the numbers in between. And I was like, I at least want to make 60. And whenever I would say that, people would laugh at me because back then $60,000 was a lot of money. I graduated in 2017, but I did. You know what I mean? I did. I graduated making that type of money, so I knew, okay, I'm making more or as much as my parents, so I definitely can move out. Like, it was a no-brainer. It wasn't with the sole purpose of moving out, and I had clarity, and I knew which field I wanted to go in. And, the field I ended up being in chose me because I went to school to be an engineer, graduated, and became a manager. Who knew, right? But it ended up, and it didn't come natural. It was a very rough start, but I became better and better, and I ended up getting very good at it. And that led to, promotion and other things at work. And it led to me being able to move across the country and make even more, working half as much as I did at my last job, making more than double what I was making back then. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's not about the emotional aspect. It's about the logical aspect of going ahead and doing what you do. Rudar, if you will, can you tell me your name, age, and location, please? I've been doing that with everybody. And also, if you're just joining in, feel free to join the call line. I've been doing this since like 7:02 or something. I had some technical difficulties, but I'd still love to talk to anyone who has any questions for me on this fine evening. Usually I don't post videos or do any lives at all on Saturdays, but this live has gone pretty well, and it's about a hot topic, very hot topic. Let me check YouTube real quick, see how we're looking. Right now I'm on a different screen. It looks like 4 people are watching right now. If you would do me a favor, give this video a like so the YouTube algorithm tells more people about this. So you want to move out of your parents' house. Do you have a goal? Let's talk about that. Whoops.
Imagine.
I accidentally clicked on one of my videos. But do you have a goal? Do you have somewhere that you want to be? And when we talk about goals, I want to be very specific because people are so baseline with their goals, and I think that's a lot of the reason why a lot of people are not financially where they want to be. People will say things like, I just want to be financially stable. I just want to have financial security. I just want to be comfortable. What does that mean? So a lot of this conversation is about money because you need money to live on your own and provide for yourself. And then if you start talking about dating and building a family, you need money for that. To get and I'm in engineering mindset, so if you need this, you need that. And so if you have all these goals, what comes before the goal? What comes before the money? Right? Career. What comes before that? Education. Excuse me. So it's talking about, how do I get to where I want to get to? So what are your goals? Don't just say I want to make 6 figures. Say I want to make $100,000 within the first 3 to 5 years of working. And some people will think that is insane, but I've done it. I have done it. So I know what that looks like. I went from like $75,000 a year or something like that to over 100,000 in just a couple of years. I've done that before. Personally, I've done that before. But you have to have a goal. You can't just say, I want to move out of my parents' house. Say, I want to move out of my parents' house by this date, and I'm going to do it by working in this field, making this amount of money for this amount of time. I'm going to work there, build up my savings until it hits this amount, which I've given y'all, $10,000 to $20,000. Obviously, the more the better. And suddenly you have clarity, and suddenly we're not just talking about moving out for 2, 3, 4 years. We're actually doing the things that put us in a position to move out. Are they fun? Not always. Is it fun to apply for a bunch of different jobs? Is it fun to learn what you need to learn to work in certain fields? Is it fun to go to college? Yeah, when you're not in class, right? But it's not about fun anymore. We're talking about being an adult and going out here in the real world and doing what we need to do to provide for not just ourselves, but for our families. And God forbid something happens in like your family back home, like your immediate family, your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad, or something like that, right? And they need your help, but you can't help them. I wasn't just thinking about, oh, how can I move out and just think about myself. I was like, no, how can I move out, be good on my own, be able to support myself, be able to support someone else if needed? How can I support a family? How can I make sure that I'm the guy to go to if my other family, like my parents or my siblings, need my help financially, or if I just want to gift them with something, or I'm surprised visiting them because, like I said, I'm across the country and I hop on a plane. I have to be able to provide for these things. Like maybe I just have a healthy case of paranoia, but I think about any and everything that I would ever have to worry about when I have a goal. It's not just move out. That's just like saying I just want to make 6 figures. But what do you have to go through to get there? What types of skills do you have to learn? What lessons do you have to learn? And what pain, essentially, do you have to go through to get there? I want to be a millionaire before I'm 31, but what pain, what type of nerves, you know what I'm saying? Like, what types of things do I have to go through? How many events do I have to speak at? How many times do I have to be nervous? How many times does my heart have to be beating fast? How many times do I have to learn something that I've never heard of before? How many times do I have to apply those things before I can actually get to where I'm saying that I want to go to? How many mistakes do I have to make? Oops. How many mistakes do I have to make in that process before I truly get there? And that's how I want you all to think. Like, moving out isn't just a fun, trendy thing to do. Like, it's something that you do when you're old enough and you're able to spread your wings and fly, and you can live financially on your own. But what's not going to happen is you move out and you're asking mom for money every month, or you move out and just to move back in. That's counterintuitive. It's a waste of time, and it causes anxiety, and honestly, it causes people to lose confidence in themselves. And that is the exact opposite of what this channel is for. So do you have a goal? Do you know how to craft a goal? If you don't, Google search this one thing for me. It's called SMART goals. Let me see if I remember this. Specific, measurable, achievable, reachable, and timely. I think those are it. I might have gotten the R one wrong, but that's essentially what they are. If you're able to be specific with your goal, you're able to measure your goal, you're like, okay, I can definitely achieve this. It's something that stretches your mind and your capabilities, but it's not impossible for you to do. It's reachable, and it's timely. It's within a certain amount of time, but it's not, you're not giving yourself 50 years to do this. That's what is most important about these things. You know, when I move out, am I going to live in an apartment with carpet, hardwood? I'm going to need a vacuum. I'm going to need cleaning supplies, pots, pans. I'm going to need Tupperware. I got to take lunch to work. I'm not about to be eating out every single day. I got a car. How am I going to maintenance that with the money I'm making from work? Yeah, I do my routine oil changes, but what else is there to a car? Oh, my tire might go out. My tire might go flat. I need to get new tires. What's my plan for that? Do I have an emergency fund? Do I have a savings account? What if my brakes and rotors go bad? What happens then? When's the last time I got my car inspected? You know, like it's things like that that people don't think about, and I've even fell into a lot of those traps that I just listed. To be perfectly frank with you, you know, I need a bed to sleep on. I need a couch. You know, I want to be able to chill when I'm off work. You probably already got a TV that you're bringing with you. You probably have some things that you're bringing with you, but what are you missing? Have you thought about that? Have you made a list? Have you looked at how much all those things costed? And have you looked at which order you're going to buy those things in and how much total it'll cost you? And, you know, have you decided when you're going to buy which item? You get what I'm saying? Have you decided if you're going to furnish your apartment all through, like one at a time, or like all together? You need pillows. You need a toothbrush, you know what I'm saying? Preferably an electric one so your dentist isn't getting mad at you when they're inspecting your teeth, talking about something you did a useless job brushing your teeth. Um, Medical bills, how are you going to pay for those? Do you have an HSA account set up? Do you know what an HSA account is? Do you have a 401k set up? How are you going to retire? We're not living just to live in, like Llama Boy said earlier, in an NPC type of lifestyle. We're living with a purpose. The purpose of working, right, is so that you can provide now, but it's also so you can retire later. It's not just about right now and just about paying off whatever debt you have, and it's not just about having fun right now. It's also about your future and what you decide to do with your money and things like that. Like, it's about making passive income from your investments. It's about going on business ventures if you want to ever go into business for yourself. It's about having money to invest in that business or invest in the things for that business to work. The lighting you see around me, there's light right up here that you can't see. It's out of camera, but that's an investment. There's a camera out here all the way in the back. That's an investment. This laptop I'm on, this phone that I'm doing my Zoom call on, this iPad, whoops, that I've been looking at my notes from, investments. This microphone, investment. Like, work is so much. We work so hard for what we do, and moving out of it was only a small fraction, but there's life after moving out, and I think people forget about that. There's actually this thing called life after your parents' house, and it can be amazing or it can be just terrible, because you might work a stressful job that you hate. You might be gainfully employed or you might be painfully employed. You know what I mean? And there's things that you have to do differently when you're on your own. You have to think differently. You have to think differently. You have to act differently. You can't always act on impulse. You can't always do what you want to do. You can't always be like, oh, I got a taste for some pizza. I'm going to go get some pizza, or I'm going to go DoorDash right now because I don't feel like going anywhere. You have to stop listening to your feelings and look at what is healthy for your bank account and what's healthy for your body, because you keep eating a bunch of crap and then wonder why you have health issues. And I'm getting into a completely different topic, but this is life after moving out. Now, we're talking about life after moving out. And you wonder why you're in the doctor's office. You're wondering why you're having stomach problems. You're wondering why your organs aren't working the way they're supposed to. You might be vitamin deficient. You might be lethargic all the time. There's life after moving out. Because when you're wanting to move out, you're in a position where it's like, man, I want to move out. So you're acting on impulse. You have to learn how to want to do things, but then figure out what things you have to do to get what you want in the correct way. It's so cool to own expensive things that you enjoy using, like this laptop, for example, or this iPad, right? But then know that you own them completely in full. You're not still making payments on them. You know, you want to be able to have a career for yourself in which you have good income, but the whole purpose of a career isn't just good income. There's so many people who make six figures who are living paycheck to paycheck, which if you don't know, and I didn't really know what this meant when I was a lot younger, I was like, what do y'all mean? Like, it's kind of self-explanatory, but like, until you're in it, it's hard to really paint that picture. It means that you're about to crap yourself after your payments clear, and you're like, man, I got $10 left for the rest of the month. And you still got 8 days until you get paid next. That's what paycheck to paycheck is. Paycheck to paycheck is not knowing how in the world you're going to possibly save your first couple $1,000s because you can't even keep 10. You know what I mean? It's not having an investment plan for yourself. It's saying, you know what? I'm not going to invest in my 401k. I'm going to take that money for myself because I need it to live. Does that sound healthy to you? Does it sound counterintuitive? Because it is. And a lot of people don't even realize the pain that they're causing themselves within their life. So I don't like talking about the topic of moving out of your parents' house that much because people are so much on impulse. They're like, I want to have fun. I want to move out. I want to stay up all night. I want to eat whatever I want. Yeah, but what happens after that? You want to date who you want. You want to have whoever over whenever. You want to be able to watch Netflix until 3 in the morning. You want to be able to throw parties at your place. You want to be able to come back whenever, 6 a.m., 5 a.m. I know these desires and thoughts because I've been you. I've had friends who have wanted these same things. I've seen people move out and it go well for them. I've seen it destroy people. I've seen it put people in financial ruin. And they're in the exact same place financially as they were when they had no job, making $0. Because everything they earn is getting spent on their current lifestyle that they can't afford because they didn't plan for it, because all they were thinking about was what they wanted. And they got what they wanted, but they weren't ready for it. And so they forgot about everything that comes after what they wanted. What you want is not the end game. I told y'all about the $1 million thing. $1 million for me is not the end game. That's just the first million. I already have a plan for the second and so forth. I have an investment plan or a retirement plan and things like that. We have to start thinking about and talking about the things that are going to get us to where we want to get to. So this is called the Wealth Journal for a reason. I have you all in the Wealth Journal. If you're just now tuning in, go ahead, drop your name, age, and location. It is getting rather late. It's 9:30 Pacific Standard Time, so it's after midnight if you're on the East Coast watching this, but it is Saturday. But anyway, yeah, I just said a lot. I'm gonna take a sip of water to that. Y'all think about what I just said. One thing about me is I'm gonna be hydrated, whether I'm doing these calls or not. I carry these things around, these Mountain Valley waters. I carry these things around me all the time, at work, at home. But yeah, y'all have any questions? Let me check YouTube, see if y'all are still about up on here, still about up. Y'all might be asleep by now. So you go to my YouTube channel. All right, we're still looking pretty good. I didn't have too much more to offer on this topic, but we got to get out of this impulse thing. We have to practice and learn this thing called impulse control. We all have impulses. Like if I see a donut, I'm like, man, I want that donut. But if it's not cheat day, you know what I mean? Or if I've been eating like crap all week, and I'm not going to just keep eating donuts. Like I'm 30 and I still have a 6-pack, and I plan on keeping it throughout my 40s and 50s. If that sounds crazy to you, it's going to happen. But my point is, like, impulse control is so important for every aspect of your life. Finances, relationships, family, friendships, your health, your spirituality. Impulse control is so important. So I know a lot of you are young, but it's not all about what you want. You can want something and start doing the things that make sense. Like if I want that donut, that theoretical donut that I was just talking about, I'm like, okay, I'm going to run 2 miles and I'm going to eat clean for 5 days straight, and then I will enjoy a donut. You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So that's what I mean by this impulse control thing. Like moving out is so much of a deeper topic that I couldn't just put that into one YouTube video and everybody understand what I'm saying. What I did initially was I just shared my story about what moving out looked out for me and how I was getting into it with my parents and how I felt the way about it, but I also talked about how I planned to do it. And it's the same thing for your job. You might have a job that you hate, but guess what? If you moved out of your parents' house, can you just leave that job? You can, but you're not going to be able to pay rent for very long, and you're going to have to move back in with them. And now you're in a situation where you're back with your parents. So my point is, if you get you a job and you don't like the job at all, impulse control. Okay, you don't like it, plan your escape. Find out how you can make more. Find out how you can get a job with a better boss, with better leadership, or with better whatever it is that you don't have right now. Plan your escape and speak to no one about your escape, because you can't trust everybody. But do you understand what I'm saying? When you're an adult, you can't just do what you want when you want, even though that's the stamp of approval that most people get when you're an adult. When you turn 18, when you turn 21, when you turn 25, yeah, you're an adult now. You can do what you want when you... No, you can't. You can, but they have consequences, and you were not ready for those. And some of those consequences will affect you for the next 5 years, 10 years, for the rest of your life if you end up having kids when you didn't intend on having kids. Things get real as an adult. And I don't want to sound like I'm lecturing anybody, but this is so important because I have seen people put themselves in situations that they quite literally cannot get themselves out of, all because they wanted something and they wanted it right then. And they couldn't wait. They had to do it right then. And as a result, their 401ks have $0 in them. And they're 40. And now they're like, oh my God, how am I going to retire? Don't know what a Roth IRA is. Don't know what an individual brokerage account is. You know, still doesn't have a good cadence for how they're budgeting their money. Thinks saving is boring. Doesn't know how to automate their savings account. And some people, I'll leave y'all with this because I'm about ready to get off here. I've been talking for a long time. Starting to get about hungry in here. One thing people tell me a lot is, well, you can't take it with you. I disapprove of that message. The low non-tox Joshi, that's a long name, man. Delayed gratification is key to accomplishing our financial goals. It is. Delayed gratification, impulse control, all that stuff. It absolutely is. But what I'll leave y'all with is this. Getting tongue-tied over here. I know it's about time for me to get off of this. But they say you can't take it with you. They're hearing what I'm saying and thinking of me as if I'm them. Meaning, the way that we think about money is different. When I talk about making money, I'm not just thinking about myself. I'm thinking about my family. I'm thinking about my kids who haven't been born yet. I'm thinking about when they get older. I'm thinking about having a Roth IRA for them when they're babies. So by the time they're 13, 15 years old, they have 6 figures and growing. You know what I mean? I'm looking at how they're going to be able to max out their Roth IRAs when they don't even realize they're maxing out their Roth IRAs. Keep knocking over my mic. I'm thinking about when I'm gone, what they're going to have what they're going to have left, what I'm going to leave over for them. And that's the problem, man. A lot of people, when they lose a family member, there's so much stress because there was no life insurance policy. The family has to figure out how to pay for the funeral. I've seen this happen. People fight over who's going to pay for what. People start getting on each other. Well, you make all this money, so you should do it. Blah, 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 blah. But if no one is managing their money correctly, because no one's been taught how to manage their money correctly, what do you think that's doing? It's creating a chaotic environment for people who are supposed to love each other otherwise. And now we're pointing fingers and blaming, and then family doesn't talk for a long time. Then someone else dies and they're brought back together. And this is real. I've seen this happen more than once. So the point is to have so much money that you leave behind a legacy and you leave something for everybody, at least in your immediate family. You want to have something left behind for your children. You know what I'm saying? For your spouse, if you go before they do. That is what this channel is all about in its entirety. It's not just about moving out of your parents' house. I know that's a popular topic, and I'm happy to talk about that with people who are, people like, well, your name is, so, Orthaholics Mixtapes. So his name is August. So people like August who get on here, I love talking to people about where they want to go, because professionally I help people get to where they want to get to in their career. That's something that I do and I love doing. It's just a part of my job. It's not my full job, but it's part of my job to mentor people and help them grow and get the desired outcome that they want. And I help them understand that there is actually a path that they have to go through to get to where they want to get to. So I like talking about it, but this whole channel is about leaving behind a legacy, building better men who are financially literate, who have a plan for themselves and who have goals and who are able to reach those goals consistently. That is how you become a winner. That's how you don't be, whenever you get turned down on something, you're not sitting around feeling sorry for yourself. You're on to the next. You're going to keep going until you get what it is that you want, but you have a plan for it. And if your plan fails, you're adjusting that plan and getting right back out there. This is not a place for anybody who sees themselves as a loser. This is a place for people to learn and grow and understand how delayed gratification truly works, and really understands what it means to get ahead financially, and not just saying, I just want to get ahead financially. I just want to be financially stable. And perhaps that'll be the next topic on the next live. I just want to blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but how are you expecting to do such a thing? Do you have a plan? That's pretty much what my message was for y'all. I know I kind of got off on a tangent. I did, however, talk about every single thing I wanted to talk about and more in my notes. So before I log off for the evening, I want to know, do y'all have any questions for me? Earlier, Llama Boy was asking great questions. August was asking great questions. Tommy was asking great questions. So we've had a few people up here participating and asking some good questions. Do we have anything before I let you all go? I'm going to give y'all a few moments. Asking great questions. One moment. All right, well, if there are no questions, I did see that some of y'all were liking what I was saying as I was getting in my groove over here. I just want to let you all know I appreciate you all for watching and hanging out with me tonight. I'm going to work on having my camera set up to be a little better. I don't like filming from my webcam, especially when my iPhone's camera's better and my actual mirrorless camera over here is a lot better. I just have to figure out how to make all this stuff work. I kind of got a lot of these things last minute and tried to set them up last minute thinking I was a genius with the tech setup, but I am clearly not. So I'll have it a little better for you guys and girls next time, but I appreciate you watching, and I'm gonna work on doing these on Wednesdays and every other Saturday, just because I work every other Saturday and I work night shift. But that's what I look into doing. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you got something out of this. I want you to hit the subscribe button if you got something out of this video. We've been going now for, gosh, almost 3 hours. So thank y'all for everything you do. Thank you for the participation. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes on this video. Thank you for participating in the chat room. I will see you all lovely people next time. Thank you very much.